Okay, so this probably isn't the best Guardians of the Galaxy 2 review you'll ever see. I mean, I'm just a guy with a microphone. It's probably the most half-assed Guardians of the Galaxy 2 review you'll ever see, so it's succeeding in some way. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is back with the same gang of misfits we fell in love with the first movie, and the same charm and comedy that makes these movies so memorable. This movie feels more contained, even though it's still a multi-billion-dollar movie. I guess before Infinity War came out, Marvel didn't want to make the movie bigger and make any big changes to the universe, so they opted for a smaller, more personable film that focuses more on the characters. It's not as action-packed and as big of a grand scale as the first one. It focuses on things like Quill's relationship with his father, Yondu's world falling apart when he is outcasted and kicked out of his own Ravager crew, Nebula and Gamora setting aside their differences and finally reconnecting. In this movie, we get a more responsible Star-Lord, a Star-Lord who is more emotionally vulnerable and more of a leader to the Guardians, which makes sense. In the first film, we had a Star-Lord who was more of a lone wolf. He did his own thing. In this one, he's got a family and a group of friends, and he's kind of the leader. But the soundtrack is fire, man. This movie got some bangers as usual. That's what makes these Guardians of the Galaxy movies so unique. The 80s music. You know that scene where the Guardians are walking in slow motion? There's a lot of that. A lot of Guardians walking in slow motion. But there's one specific song that they use that goes something like, "And you don't love me now." You know what song I'm talking about, right? Yondu's farewell was awesome. You know the scene where he's at that gentleman's club and we see Rocky Balboa where he's outside and Yondu's looking out the window. It was badass and almost eerie. We see a different kind of Yondu, one who is paying for his past crimes and redeems himself by being Mary Poppins and Star-Lord's daddy. This movie is about redemption, where Ego tries to reconnect with his son in a weird, evil, supervillain kind of way. Yondu tries to be a better person and pay for his past crimes. Quill rejects Ego and realizes that his true father is Yondu, despite the fact that he kidnapped him and threatened to eat him throughout his childhood. Nebula and Gamora reconnect and have a touching sibling moment, despite their dark and troubling past involving a warmongering supervillain for a father. And Rocket opens up and realizes that underneath his aggressive and sarcastic exterior is a soft, caring raccoon who'd do anything to save his friends. But that's what makes Guardians of the Galaxy so special. Despite these damaged characters living in a criminal world, the Guardians find a way to bond and make their own family and friendships. And Kurt Russell was a great addition. It's fitting as this movie really pushes that 80s feel and has an 80s soundtrack that is awesome. Russell was perfect to be casted into this film. He was a big 80s action star. And also he's just a great all-around awesome actor. Also, we got a cameo of David Hasselhoff, so that was kind of fun. I also appreciated how this movie is kind of setting up Volume 3. You know, with the introduction of Adam Warlock in one of the post-credit scenes. I mean, I was wondering why the Sovereign were so present in this movie, and it made sense. It was just kind of like to set up the third movie, which is fine, I guess, but I don't know. It just felt like it was kind of shoehorned in there just to make, you know, another villain or another character for the next movie. We also got a glimpse of like Rocket's past, which I think is going to be more explored in Volume 3, so I'm excited to see that. Despite having that comedy and charm, this movie was smaller, which, I mean, isn't exactly a bad thing, but it just felt a lot slower than what I'm used to for a Marvel movie. I felt like this movie was still lacking something. It relied on the same tropes and ideas that came out in the first movie. There was nothing really special that stood out. There was no specific scene where I was like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? Except for that scene between Star-Lord and his father, you know, when Star-Lord's like just world just gets broken apart when he realizes that his father killed his mother. Yeah, that kind of hit. Also, Yondu's death, I thought that was very touching and a great way of closing off that character's arc. So yes, there are some deeper scenes, but I just still felt like there was something missing. Also, we got a baby Groot. How cute is that? You know, he was doing a little dance routine. That was pretty fucking awesome. This movie is silly, it's funny, and it's a great time all around. Again, it's a lot slower than the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I think than most Marvel films, but that's not a bad thing because it focuses more on the characters and their relationships. I still felt like it was missing something, like there wasn't anything big in the movie to really make a big difference or an impact. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be posting more videos like this one. My name is Chris Pratt, and I am Groot. Shut off the light, cause I work all night, and I sleep all day. Let's bring it.